All right, so this one I already pre-opened. This could be quite a few items from this unboxing that are going to be in here. So I'm unwrapping this. I already got my tickets to Baltimore Comic Con. Prepaid for those. Kind of on the fence about getting. I have that image sign that's like right there. We go, right there. It's signed by every image creator except for Jim Lee. I got that thing signed at, I think it was the 10th or 15th anniversary. Maybe it was 20th, 25th anniversary. I don't know. Baltimore Comic Con had image there one year. I want to say it was like 2015 or 2014. It was some anniversary. The image guys had a large booth in the center. And everybody was there, of course, except Jim Lee, because he was with DC. And everybody signed it. That's one that has a character on there. Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Shadhawk, so Jim Valentino. I think Will Spartasio might have even signed it as well. And the only person, Mark Silvestri. And Todd McFarlane was nice enough to draw a Spawn head on the corner. So the only person that have not had signed that is Jim Lee, and I would love to get Jim Lee to sign it because Grifter's on there in the corner. So I'm still debating on whether or not I want to pay for the signature and just get it done. He's only making a Saturday appearance, and I just don't want to wait in a line all day. To get something signed. So I'm gonna see if I can somehow work something out where I get him to sign it, or I can go about my day and do the things I need to do, because I do get panels, and I like to record the panels, and I don't want to miss any panels to wait in line. So I guess we'll see if I can finagle something or work something out somehow. Looking for something in this pile, and it is on the bottom. Of course it would be. So, alright. So, in a previous video, I got this book here. Superman 3D from 1953, and this has the 3D glasses in it. I'm going to have to get a nice magazine Mylar to put this in. And so there's really only one more. I need to find a Batman 3D from the same time period. And I think there might have been a Captain Marvel one too. So if there is a Captain Marvel, I'll probably be looking for that as well. I have to look into it though. But I brought that out to show this. So this is one of the things I got from the seller. This is a production piece of acetate from that Superman 3D issue from 1953. This thing survived from 1953. And this is the acetate. So this is actually, I don't know if this is two pieces or one. Now, I showed a Legion of Superheroes acetate. And it was two pieces. So the artwork was one piece, and the letters were another piece, and you had to overlay the two pieces to make the image. This one is one piece. Okay, so this is one piece. It's overlaid. There's a piece of tape on it, which is it torn? Yep, it's torn. That's unfortunate. There's a piece of tape there at the top. But still, a cool piece to have, even with the tape on it. These things are probably brittle, so I will slide this back into the bag. But really cool piece of production art. Now, the other thing about this is this comes from the Jack Adler collection. And that wasn't disclosed that I saw anyway in the listing, which is pretty neat. But this is... Jack Adler, of course, worked for DC Comics. This is an original piece of DC production art from the Jack Adler collection. 3D acetate proof. So another nice piece of production art that I have. And same seller. I put in an offer, and this actually is different. So this is cool. So that piece that I showed earlier, the letterhead from Paul Cooperberg, this one's actually older. So that, I thought they were the same piece. So I'm actually kind of glad I did do this. This is actually a different piece. So you got Superman, Shazam, Batman, Flash, Aquaman, Robin, and Wonder Woman at the top. Where the other one had Plastic Man, had Icon, had Tim Drake Robin. So this is probably a 1980s piece. And it's the same thing. So you got DC logo on the other side, and when this thing hits the light, these characters bleed through the other side. So we're gonna take this out. So I'm kind of glad I did get that. And this is Jack Adler. So this must be from the Jack Adler collection as well. Vice President of Production. So this is a different letterhead. Maybe it's the same time period. And oh wait a minute, is there? Nope, there's not a date on this. But 75 Rockefeller Plaza. So I don't know if anybody can date that in the comments, Matt, if you're watching. So the first piece is Paul Cooperberg, with different characters, 90s characters, and this one may be around the same time period, maybe a little older. It's pretty awesome. Let's see, what is this? Letterhead. Now this here also is another piece of letterhead. And I don't know when this would have been, maybe the 70s. This is National Periodical Publications Incorporated, 909 3rd Avenue, New York. And it says a subsidiary of Kinney National Service. This is another letterhead. Like I said, this has no hidden watermark on it like the other two do. But you know, for what I paid for it, and I was already getting a bunch of stuff anyway, and I just made offers on all this stuff, and they pretty much took it. So really happy with this piece. Just like another fun piece to have in my collection of, you know, DC memorabilia. And then this was in here as well. I saw it, and I paid less than what it would cost to slab this thing, and this is an old CGC slab, because it's the nice thick heavy slab that they had before, and this character I really like. This is Shadow Man #2 from Valiant Comics, and this is a 9/6. This is from 1992. First appearance of Shadow Man in costume, and first appearance of Nettie. Jim Shooter story, David Lapham and Tom Ryder cover and art. I do have a Shadow Man #1, also CGC. This is like one of my favorite Valiant characters when it was out, when Valiant was coming out. Didn't have any comic book stores that I went to at this time. They were all far away. So my dad one time actually came home from, he would go to the flea market every week, and there was a guy there that sold comics, and he came home one day with, he would do this periodically, come home with some comics, but he had some Magnus Robot Fighter, like number 1, 2, 3, and I think 4. And he brought him home, asked me if, you know, if I liked them or not. Read them. I did really like Magnus Robot Fighter. Apparently the guy had the first couple issues and told my dad that it was like a hot item at the time, and knew I was collecting, so he got it. Now he might have remembered it from his youth, and that's why he got it. I'm not sure. But but Magnus Robot Fighter from Valiant was pretty cool. And that's when I started collecting Valiant. Um, Actually went to the comic book store looking for it. Had my mom drive me out, and I ended up picking up was issue 5, which is the first appearance of Rye, and I really liked Rye. And then I was at the flea market myself, and I think I picked up issue number 9 or 10 of Shadow Man. Really liked Shadow Man, and then went back, and that was the first Valiant title that I actively like sought out every issue every month. Got somebody to get on a subscription for me so they could bring it to me. Um, and I collected Shadow Man. I think up to like issue into the 20s. I think it was like 28 or 29, and then my source for the book kind of fizzled out. I don't know if they weren't ordering the book anymore, or the person just stopped getting comics maybe. Um, and then I ended up getting like back issues later on, filling in. Um, but that was like my favorite Valiant comic and one that followed. And my second would have been Magnus. A lot of people liked Harbinger. I didn't get into Harbinger until like around 18 because you could not find those books. Um, and I read a couple of the issues. I wasn't a big fan of Harbinger. I mean, maybe the earlier issues might have been really good. Um, but Magnus Robot Fighter just kind of grabbed me because it was in the future. Rye also was in the future. Um, and then Shadow Man was in the present time. Exo Manowar, I read a couple issues of those. Solar Man, the Atom, I read a couple issues of those as well. But for some reason, Magnus and Shadow Man just grabbed me. Now with Valiant, if you've never read Valiant, to me, the best period of Valiant is in like the first year and a half. So if you go back and read all the first books, I think they were really, really good. After about, when I guess Harbinger got into around like issue 17, 18, 19, right around then, to me it kind of dipped off. Same thing with like Magnus, and they tried to reinvent him kind of, and Rye became Rye in the Future Force and Bloodshot, and then you got Turok, and then you got the Psy Lords, and then it's kind of to me it kind of, not to say it went off the rails, but it wasn't the same product. Valiant, early Valiant, had a nice look to it, had a nice feel to it. The colors were really good. They had a lot of innovations too. Like they had the Valiant 3D, which was like a non blue red 3D like this. It was like a clear. They called it Valiant Vision. And the cool thing about Valiant Vision is, and I stumbled across this by accident, was when the Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp Green Lantern series was out. They had very vibrant colors in there, and I was actually at my LCS when I think it was issue 2 came out, and I was going through like my LCS at the time. He had this set of bins in the front of the store, so probably 2,000 comics, and depending on what you spent, you got so many free comics from that bins you can go through. So at the time, I was spending so much money, I would pull like 20, 25 books out of there. And I pulled a lot of like stuff I normally wouldn't buy, like later issues of Warlord, a lot of indie stuff, just oddball stuff. I would just go pick out 25, 30 comics each week. So I would get my normal 25 books, and then I end up with another free 25 books. And I tried to just pick out high grade, anything high grade, like DC or stuff like that to read. Every once in a while, I'd pull something out just because it was cool, or just wanted to read it. I remember one person pulled out a Adam Hughes Supergirl on the Meteor. It was like probably like a 5.0, but still, it's an Adam Hughes Supergirl. It's, the book still goes for, even in that grade, what, a couple $100. He pulled that out of there because the LCS owner he was cool. But I pulled a lot of stuff out of there I normally wouldn't like purchase. And I got some Valiants out of there too. And I also got some started pulling out Dakota series books. DC imprint. I can't remember, Icon and Static and them. There was a lot of them in there, so I was pulling them out too because you just would not find them at all. You would never see them. And I remember I collected those too in the beginning up until about maybe the first year, and then just overwhelming everything else coming out. I just had to finally drop stuff. But I ended up filling a lot of my runs that way with those free books. But anyway, to get off track, but the uh, Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp Green Lantern series, when I was digging through those boxes, I stumbled across a Valiant Vision, and it just, to me, the colors in the Green Lanterns reminded me a lot of those vibrant colors in Valiant. So I pulled that book, and while I was still there, I opened it up, took the glasses out, put the glasses on, and sure enough, it made that 3D-ish pop when the Grant Morrison Green Lantern series gave it that 3D kind of effect, which was kind of cool because Valiant Vision worked a different way. I don't know how it worked, but it was just, there were clear lenses. But I guess because of the colors, the deep colors, is what made it 3D. And it, sure enough, it worked on the Green Lantern series, and they even said that when it came out that it'll work on all Valiant books, and it'll also work on other publisher books. But it'll be sporadic. What it'll work on depending on, I guess, what inks they used. But those inks were so vibrant that it worked on that series. It was pretty cool. I went back and I read the series when it was coming out, and then I went back through later and read the series again with the Valiant Vision glasses on, and it was a pretty cool. It was still a cool read, but it was a lot of people said they didn't like the Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp. I thought it was pretty cool. And I read it with the Valiant Vision glasses, and it was a fun read again. But yep, just got a bunch of stuff, and I said I paid next to nothing for this stuff. This was like $35, I think. Let's say the cost of a slab alone, and I already have this issue, but it was slabbed. Why not? I want to say I paid like $12 for this, $15 for this. It's a piece of stationery, but it's still cool. And then, like I said, I didn't know this was Jack Adler, so this probably came from his personal collection. I'm going to go back to this seller and see if they have any other Jack Adler stuff, because I like having things that belong to the creators themselves. And like I said, this was really cool. This was pretty cheap too for what it was, maybe because of the tape that's on it. I don't know, but fairly inexpensive for something from 1953 that survived. And I think that this was in Mr. Adler's personal collection, probably from that time period all the way up till maybe he passed. And I have it now. It's pretty cool. This was something that he kept, that he had, and it was in his hands, and now I have it. So I'm gonna look at probably getting this thing maybe framed. See if I can frame it somehow or get it framed professionally so it doesn't get damaged further. Instead of leaving it in the sleeve like this. If not, then I'll probably get like an art mylar or something in a thick board and put it in that to kind of display it better. But neat piece of history here. I said I've been picking up a lot of production stuff and different items that we would have ran through, like comic book production. I'm really interested in that now. Another little side thing I'm collecting now. So I got that Legion piece, that acetate Legion. I got this. I have original artwork. I have color separations. A couple more items I have on my list that I want to get. Pretty much want to get a piece of every facet of comic book. I want to get a script eventually, or at least a page of a script. And I got my eye on one that's pretty neat. And it's fairly inexpensive as well. And I'll probably just grab it just to have it. And then there's another piece I'm going to get. I'm not going to say anything here. I'm going to wait till I get it because it's pretty pricey. But I'm going to pick that up shortly. And then I'll probably do another video where I have all the different pieces production together, kind of do like a little video of like how a comic is made, or the steps, stages, or whatever of a comic book. It's gonna be different books, but you'll get the point. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.